Welcome to the closing ceremony of the Time Use Week 2020. It's a pleasure to be here and host this event that has a representation of the people and institutions that made this Use Week possible and that are already working on making an even more extraordinary Time Use Week 2021. Thanks, Marichel, Xavier, Elvira, Janice, Ignace, and Marta for being with us to close this week and present what we hope that next year's week will be. I will introduce each of you as we advance. So I would like to start by introducing Marta Junque, co-coordinator of the Barcelona Time Use Initiative for a Healthy Society, and one of the persons that has been following closely what has been happening during this week. Marta, whenever you are ready.
Thank you, Oriana. And I would like to start saying thank you to everybody that has made this Time Use Week possible. And this includes the technical team, this includes all the speakers that we have, more than 80 speakers, the participants, we had more than 500 participants registered to following the event, the media, but as well, I want to say thank you and a special thank you to the organizers that make that possible, that these include, as you can see, Àrea Metropolitana de Barcelona, Diputació de Barcelona, Ajuntament de Barcelona, and Generalitat de Catalunya, the Barcelona Time Use Initiative. Thank you, everybody, to make this week possible. In my intervention today, I would like to explain our evaluation that we do from the organizers of the week, how we see the Time Use Week. I would like to share with you some of the main conclusions that we have reached, or main proposals that we have been listening very carefully in the last 5 days. And I would like to end my intervention explaining a bit which are the next steps. So if you allowed me, our first evaluation of the Time Use Week has been very, very satisfactory. We have seen that the COVID measures that have been taken in place at the very levels of the administration and also in the private organizations have put the time use policies at the center of the political, economical, and social agenda. And that's a very good news in order that we can reshape and improve what are the objectives of the time use policies. Also, this week, after more than 17 different debates, very multidisciplinary debates, we have been able to define what is the beginning of a global time use agenda, a multidisciplinary one, where several different topics affects the citizens and affects the citizens in terms of being able to create a more healthier, a more equal, and a more productive society. And also, I would like to emphasize the quality and the diversity of the speakers and the participants that we have had participating in this week. As I said, we have had more than 80 speakers from around the world and more than 500 people registered. Each of the days, we have had more than 150 people connected, following closely the debates, with a lot of participations in the chats. And we are also very proud to see that this has generated interest around the globe on this global time use agenda. Now, I would like to explain you which are the 5 main proposals that we have been listening over these 5 days. First of all, I think that it's clear that we have realized that the time use policies are, as I said, more than ever at the center of the political and economical agenda, that we have common problems around the world and in Europe that are related to the time, to the right to time. So it needs to be better structured and better included in the global agenda, starting for United Nations, following in the European Union, but as well at the state and the municipal level. In the first debate that we had, it was clearly stated that we need to have a law that is comprehensive and is a Spanish law, but can be also applied in other places, a Spanish law that regulates the time use from a very comprehensive point of view, including commercial legislation, including working and labor legislation, including cultural legislation, educational legislation. We need a comprehensive law from the Spanish state, and especially we need to do that in a social broad agreement with the business and the employers association. The second main conclusion that we wanted to emphasize is that this week we also realized that will not be the last week of the clock change between winter and summer. This, although that the European Commission had committed themselves that spring 2021 will be the last clock change, the participants have stated that at the moment there is not a consensus at the European level, and so we will need to organize ourselves, activists, scientists, public institutions, to press the member states and the European Union to end with the clock change, because it's not a healthy practice. The third proposal that we also saw during this week is that municipalities, cities and towns are the key pillar to implement time use policies. We saw this from many French and Italian examples, also here in Catalonia, but we also realized that it's the moment to foster a better collaboration and to improve the collaboration of these municipalities through the European network of cities for time use. This will bring us many benefits, and among them, closer collaboration and closer capacity to push for the time use policies and share best practices. And now the fourth and the fifth, but not for that the less important. This week, we also have been relating and connecting time use policies with 2030 agenda goals, the Sustainable Development Goals. And we have realized that these two very transversal, very cross policies are very connected. The speakers and the experts on the panels, they confirm that without applying and implementing the time policies, it will not be able to achieve the objective of the Agenda 2030. So we really make a call for implementing time use policies from the local to the global level. And last but not least, this week we also have been listening to the scientist community, to the researchers community, and they have done a very clear claim. They claim for having more data and continuity on this data. In France, for example, in Catalonia, in Spain, there has not been a time use pool survey from 10 years ago. So we have been listening to that, and we really want to make this proposal visible. In order to have better time use policies, we need to have data, and periodically data. These are the 5 conclusions that we take high level. There have been much more comments, and this week has been also very practical, where we have listened very concrete examples on time use. Now, to finalize, I just would like to emphasize that we are looking forward to the Time Use Week 2021 in order that we can define what we call a declaration on time use global agenda. That will be an instrument, a tool to share with the United Nations and European institutions our recommendations in order to achieve these time use priorities and agenda. Next year as well, we will be very happy to have in Barcelona the EATUR Congress that will be celebrated here in our city at the same time that the Time Use Week 2021. And we are looking forward to find synergies among all the participants. So that's all. I just want to finish my intervention saying thank you, everybody, for your contributions. We take note of them, and we will keep working in the coming days, weeks, and years. Thank you.
To participate in Time Use Week 2021 to gain a better understanding on how we can improve time use research and connect it to policymaking.
I want to participate in the Time Use Week 2021 to share knowledge on the latest chronobiological findings and relate them to research in other areas.
You cannot hear.
I want to participate in the Time Use Week 2021 to build a new global agenda for time use policies that respect circadian rhythms.
We want to achieve a healthier and more sustainable society through time use policies.
Now is the moment to place the time use policies at the center of the European and international agenda. Let's do it.
Thanks for the video, Marta, and for the summary of the Time Use Week 2020. With this video, we want to start what we will be working next year towards this Time Use Week 2021, which we hope to be even bigger than this year's, and hopefully, partially at least, face-to-face. So we would like to start the second part of the event with 3 experts that have been very closely supporting the Barcelona Time Use Initiative and the Time Use Week from the beginning. We have with us Ignace Glorieux. He's a professor of sociology at the Brussels University and current president of the International Association for Time Use Research. We also have with us Elvira Mendez. She's the president of the Catalan Council, Advisory Council, for Time Reform, and general director of Salut i Família Association. And last but not least, we have also with us Yaniv Boulan. He's also a sociologist and associated researcher at, I'm sorry, I will not pronounce it correctly probably, but at Paris Dauphine University. He's also Vice President of Tempo Territorial and current coordinator of the European Network of Cities for Time Use. Thank you, the three of you, for being here today as experts and constant advisors of our association. I will like Ignace to give a few words. I think you are muted.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having invited me for this closing session of the Time Use Week. I had the chance to follow a few sessions this week, and I must congratulate the organizers and all the collaborators of this event. This is really a very well organized event. I heard excellent speakers, informative presentations, good discussions. And during this week again, as Marta Juncker just summarized, it was made very clear how important time and the social organization of time are as parameters for a healthy society, and how policies can intervene in the social organization of time to improve the daily lives of people. Many of today's social problems, in fact, deal with time. Bad work-life balances, inequalities between women and men, traffic jams, performance of children in school, time pressure, stress, health problems, and many other complaints in modern societies are affected by the way social time is organized. And this insight, unfortunately, is not yet very widespread. And therefore, initiatives such as the Barcelona Time Use Initiative for a Healthy Society are very important. But as Marta also stressed, good time policies must be based on reliable and accurate facts and insights of the temporalities of society. And that's where time use research comes in. Time use researchers study how people organize their daily lives, how time use of individuals is embedded and affected by organizational time, such as working hours or opening hours, how calendars and culture affect the temporal organization of societies, how time use of individuals and also the human body and natural rhythms condition our daily actions. And it's clear that this study is not an easy task, since it deals with very different life spheres that are all interdependent and interrelated. In time use studies, researchers try to deal with this complexity by gathering detailed information of the daily behavior of populations. So they ask people to register all their activities in diaries, together with the starting time and ending time, and most often also accompanied with detailed information on interaction partners, place of activity, means of transportation in case they travel. And since the end of the 90s, Eurostat took the initiative to harmonize and to promote time use studies in Europe. So the last 20 years, many European countries have gathered time use data on a regular basis. And the same happens elsewhere, more and more in the world. In the US, we have a continuous time use study since 2003. Also in Canada, Australia, many Asian countries, South America, African countries, more and more gather very good time use data. United Nations Statistical Division promotes an activity classification that should harmonize and make comparative research possible. UN Women promotes time use research in its struggle for gender equality. The World Bank subsidized time use studies in developing countries as an instrument for economic development. And the International Association for Time Use tried to bring everything a little bit together. IATUR organizes every year an international conference which gathers scholars from very different disciplines to share analysis, insights, methodologies, also data on time use from all over the world. And we believe that the knowledge we share on these conferences can be very useful as input for temporal policies. So it's important that this knowledge is disseminated to the broader society as well. And therefore, we are very happy that we came into contact with the Barcelona Time Use Initiative for a Healthy Society. A delegation of this initiative has participated in the last two IATUR conferences. And in fact, normally we would have our 2020 conference this month in Tokyo, but unfortunately, it had to be cancelled due to COVID, as many other events. But next year, it was already announced, the IATUR conference will be organized in Barcelona by the people of the Barcelona Time Use Initiative. This conference will be part of the Time Use Week. It will be held during the Time Use Week. So hopefully many participants of the IATUR conference will also share the sessions in other events of the Time Use Week. But anyhow, I think it will be a unique opportunity to share and disseminate knowledge and ideas that can help in building a healthier society. And let's take this literally. Let's hope that in fact by next year we have a healthier society so that we can meet in person in Barcelona. So I'm very pleased to invite you all to next year's IATUR conference in Barcelona. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ignace. We are looking forward for next year's IATUR conference, hopefully face to face. Next is Elvira Méndez, whenever you are ready.
Bona tarda des de Barcelona a tots els...
I would like to greet all the different participants of this closing ceremony of the Time Use Week 2020, which has been an opportunity, as other people are saying, to share knowledge and experiences about time use. They have come from many different fields of study. And this whole week, Time Use Week, has acted as a bridge, as a link that is quite significant between knowledge and robust results of time use research and decision-making processes from public policies for the general good. The Time Use Week, as it has been mentioned by one of the organizers already, Marta Jonquet, has reached out to more than 500 people. People who work from many different fields, sociologists, sleep doctors, specialists in health promotion, economists, chronobiologists, but also amongst the politicians. We have had regional government, local governments, trade unions, business associations, feminist and environmentalist organizations. The European network obviously has also shown an interest, a very relevant stakeholder of cities for time use, as well as members of the European Parliament, the European Commission. And I'm sure that this list is not complete, and I might have missed specific people or institutions, but from the Advisory Council for the Time Reform in Catalonia, we've been working for 5 years jointly with the Catalan government to make headway and start making decisions about time use and time reform. Throughout this year, that has been quite a unique year, very difficult for many people. We have managed to not only prepare, but to finalize the plan called To Live Better, Viure Millor. And I'm sure that the minister, the Catalan minister, will speak about this later, Ms. Bundó. This plan includes 88 practical measures, and it has been taken on and adopted by the Catalan government after a very intense interdepartmental debate. It's not just something on paper. It's the result of an agreement from many different areas in the Catalan government. There will be Catalan elections happening soon because a new parliament will be held, and based on the political majorities, there will be a new Catalan government, which is why I would like to seize this opportunity to invite all political parties to include as part of their electoral programs and to speak during the electoral campaign about the issues and the most fundamental aspects of time use and time management. Therefore, we ask you all to be clear about this with specific examples and concrete list of public policies that have been analyzed throughout this time use week, such as, for instance, moving the TV prime time forward, or school hours, opening hours for shops, establishments, this whole slew of measures, and the oft discussed reform of working hours. This is something that we want you all to discuss on your programs and during your campaigns. Now, during the next edition of this Time Use Week in 2021, I'm sure we will have a new opportunity to think and to take stock of the changes, both programmed and spontaneous changes that will probably occur in Catalonia, Spain, Europe, and all over the globe. We'll be truly delighted to continue with our dual role of, on the one side, promoting time reform in Catalonia and, if possible, across Spain, and by the same token to be a European and international host for time policies that will gradually be implemented, and I'm sure will be discussed during the IA Tour conference that will be held in Barcelona next year, which hopefully will be luckier for everyone. Thank you all for your attention.
For your works and for your clear petition to our politicians. Last but not least of our three experts that are with us today, Jean-Yves Boulan, whenever you are ready.
Yeah, could you hear me? It's okay? Is it okay? You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Clear.
Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ariadna, and good afternoon to all the auditors, and thank you to have invited me to this closing session. I am here as indicated in the program on behalf of Tempo Territorial and of the network of European cities which implement time policies. Professionally, I am a sociologist, associated researcher at Paris-Dauphine University and member of the National Center of Scientific Research. Let me first briefly explain what are these two networks, Tempo and the European network. Tempo Territorial is a French association which brings together about 15-20 French local authorities, mainly urban and rural municipalities and metropolitan areas, which are implementing time policies. Tempo organizes regular meetings, each of them focusing on time issue. Once a year, we held Les Temporels, an annual conference lasting 1 day and a half. Normally, it should have been yesterday and today. We also set regularly working groups on specific time issues, for instance, time, space, and mobility, night times, 15 minutes city, and so on. The European network of cities which implement time policy has been launched around 2008-2009 in Barcelona. We held a big conference in Barcelona in November 2009. The idea behind this network is the same as for Tempo, to bring together European cities which are doing time policies in order to mutualize initiative, methods of implementation, results of evaluation. In 2013, Barcelona's colleague asked Tempo Territorial to take in charge the monitoring of the European network. This is my role today. And the network gathers grouped Italian cities like Bergamo, Bolzano, Milano, Spanish cities, Barcelona, Bilbao, and one Belgian city, Verviers, and all French local authorities grouped in Tempo Territorial. I should confess that if we were able to organize conferences in 2014 and 15, this became more and more difficult due to budgetary difficulties of the cities to afford with the cost of transportation and stay. We have applied to a European program, Europe for Citizens, in order to get financial support to organize meetings and working groups, but we did not succeed really. In conclusion of this first introduction, the network still exists, but is not taking any initiative at the moment. But, and this is the point, the result of this Time Use Week, I am now a bit more optimistic after this Time Use Week organized in Barcelona. Because I think it could be the starting point to get support from EU. Indeed, if we look back to the issues which were on the agenda during the this Time Use Week, and referred by Marta and also other colleagues, we can see that these initiatives resonate with issues that are on the European agenda. The work-life balance issue, for instance, which was present in several panels during this week, either linked to the pandemic or to the new ways to work, like telework. These different issues echo key issue which has been put on the forefront by the European Pillar of Social Rights adopted in 2017 in Göteborg. In the same line, the role of time organization and more generally of time policies, particularly desynchronization of working and opening hours, which might reduce traffic congestion at peak hours. All these time policies regarding the sustainable development provides guidance to help to achieve the objectives of the new Green Deal promoted by Ursula von der Leyen. During this Time Use Week 2020, several important social time issues were discussed, whether it was about the impact of ICT on teenagers and young people time, or the shift from daily saving time scheme to permanent standard time. What is important is the fact that all these issues are discussed in the frame of an action program which aims at acting on the representation and behavior that the inhabitants of Barcelona are maintained with social times. All areas of social life are under consideration, whether it is working time, family time, time of children, sleeping time, and whatever. This is why BTY focused its approach on the analysis of time uses. Another important contribution of the 2020 Time Use Week lies in several debates which focused on thinking about the role that time policies can have during the post-pandemic period. My last point is about the next Time Use Week in October 2021, which I also hope will be a face-to-face event. As a member of both areas, I mean time policies on one side and time use research as an IATUR member on the other side, I can only be delighted that for the first time, both issues will be united in the same event. I have been arguing for a long time for the time use surveys methods and results to be monitored in a local time policy perspective. Indeed, IATUR conferences provide results of time use surveys analysis from many countries and on all the dimensions of social time. They provide cross-country comparison and also analysis of the diverse social times of all populations categories. Young scholars are developing new methods of statistical analysis. They invest in new fields of analysis. But the problem is they mainly just publish their results in academic journals, and that's it. From my point of view, this is a huge waste not to have practical uses of this research work. In my opinion, time use data, if provided at the local level in time policy perspective, would enable more tailored action and would help a more time-oriented urban planning. During the 2020 Time Use Week, many issues have been discussed in an interdisciplinary manner. I think that one of the most important challenges of the 2021 Time Use Week will be to manage to think about the methods allowing to make the data of the scientific studies apprehensible by the decision makers. Several concretizations have been made in the past. Let us think about the example of time geography in Lund University, and more recently, of the chronotopic approaches developed by Sandra Bonfiglioli's team at the Politecnico di Milano. The chronomaps make the results of scientific studies sensitive and understandable by decision makers and the population. We must continue in this direction in order to provide the tools to build action plans like the one BTOI is currently undertaking. This program of BTOI discursively induces a necessary collaboration with academics in the field of uses of time. That's for me one of the main challenges of the 2021 International Time Use Week. If I have
a few seconds left, Yaniv.
1 minute to conclude, I think that this original approach gives an even stronger raison d'être for the European network in order to pool methods and practices with the objective of ultimately constituting the basis of a policy aimed at establishing a right to time for citizens. This is the deep meaning of the European memorandum published by colleagues from Germany, Italy, Catalonia, France in favor of a European Time Academy, with objectives is to group academics in the diverse fields of time issues, time geography, sociology, economy, anthropology, urbanism, and so on, and practitioners who implement time policies at the local level. This will be also, in my opinion, another important challenge for the next 2021 Time Use Week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yaniv. We take note of your challenges and proposals, and we hope to keep working with you to enhance time use local policies for sure. To continue with this closing ceremony, I would like to welcome two institutional representatives of our working group, which is a group, the group of institutions that made this Time Use Week possible, which includes the Barcelona City Council, the Barcelona Metropolitan Area, the Barcelona Provincial Council, and the government of Catalonia. We've been working together alongside the Barcelona Time Use Initiative, of course. We've been working together this whole year to make it possible, and we hope to keep working together next year to organize this Time Use Week 2021. Today we have two representatives. First, we have Mr. Xavier Marcé. He's the Councillor of Tourism and Creative Industries at the Barcelona City Council. Welcome. And we also have the spokeswoman and Minister of the Presidency at the Generalitat de Catalunya, Honorable Consellera Meritxell Budó. Thank you for being with us today. So without further delay, Mr. Xavier Marcé, whenever you're ready. Xavier, quan vulguis.
Moltes gràcies. Bona tarda a tots. Welcome us. Ja fa molt de temps que vam descobrir que les polítiques...
A long time ago that we realized that time use policies were not neutral and that they had a direct impact on education, economic life, cultural life, work-life balance, gender policies, employment policies, and so forth. If I might simplify the whole matter, it's a way of constructing a new way of living. A way of living is something very salient, if I may oversimplify. Some time ago, I was a member of a parliamentary committee convened by Fabian Mohedano at the time. He wanted me to contribute to an assessment of how the cultural industry might start changing their hours. Not that long ago, people would go to the theater around 10 p.m. That was the normal time. Now it's more like 8:30 p.m. But of course, it has to be reconciled with many other things. In June this year, Barcelona took a clear stance as a city that wanted to be part of the ecosystem of time use policies, including organizations, media, NGOs, and so forth. And that is why it is especially meaningful for us to be hosting the IATUR conference in autumn next year. It's particularly important and salient because we want to address and consider all these matters that together lead to a new way of living. For us, it's essential to be a pioneering city in this regard. Traditionally, Barcelona has been a city used as a reference for many matters. It's not by chance that we have this presence today. Meritxell Budó is one of the people who have looked at time use policies and gender policies. Now, our administration clearly places at the center of its priorities people and their well-being, and that is why this is all so important. And of course, these policies must also apply to businesses. So local authorities can do what they can do, but a lot of different interests need to be reconciled at a local level, and everything has to be brought to bear. One important thing is that we have done a lot of working from home that's been set up very rapidly. That said, with this new way of approaching employment relations, if we don't watch out for time use, we can really just increase a lot of working time, which means that we need union agreements. We need a radical transformation of the way we live and to work, and the way we live, as I said before. We are committed to being a driver of change with the help of new technologies. We take on and accept our responsibility, and this is reflected in the way we expect to welcome your organization next year. Lastly, I would like to thank all of the speakers of this Time Use Week for their contributions. I'd like to thank the organizers for making this week a real landmark in terms of knowledge and welfare policies, placing time at the center of the debate. Thank you very much.
Les paraules I pel...
Thank you, Mr. Mercian, for your words as well as the commitment shown by the City Council from that point of view. In order to finish with this event, I'll give the floor to Meritxell Budó, the regional minister. Great.
Thank you very much. My warmest greetings and thanks go to the organizers who made this International Time Use Week possible, despite the difficulties caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we conclude International Time Use Week, a week in which over 300 researchers, politicians, activists, and organizations from around the world have worked together and intensely to the subject of time use. These are turbulent times, yet in spite of everything, the COVID-19 pandemic and the acute health, social and economic emergency has also provided an opportunity. We have seen that we can distribute the use of our time differently. The time factor has become a key part of our life during the pandemic and will become more so when we turn to managing the post-emergency period and social and economic reactivation. The road toward this cultural change is not exclusive to Catalonia. Every country in the world is working in this field with the aim of bringing about measured improvements to social well-being. Governments are fully aware of their social responsibility to citizens, the duty to improve people's quality of life through time policies. And it is a responsibility shared by all public institutions, from small town to the highest European level. In Catalonia, timetable reform is a national challenge. Thanks to the efforts of institutions and civil society, time use policies have made their way into today's political agenda in Catalonia. The government of Catalonia, in line with policies implemented around Europe, is committed to the goal of making people's life easier through the more efficient, equal, and healthy organization of time. With this goal in mind, in Catalonia, we have decided to join institutional force together with Barcelona City Council, Barcelona Provincial Council, Àrea Metropolitana de Barcelona, and Barcelona Time Use for a Healthy Society to create International Time Use Week. We want to meet the challenge of making Barcelona and Catalonia the leading international hub for all the issues related to time use for the next few years. In this context, as you know, the government of Catalonia took on and is steadily implementing the timetable reform project. In Catalonia, we are willing to learn from the best international experience in this field. So I would like to thank you all of your commitment and hard work. Spaces for reflection, debate, and exchanging experience such as this are essential if we are to reconceive our societies and make transformation possible. Let me remind you that a little less than a year from now, we will be meeting again in 2021 International Time Use Week, planned for October to coincide with the annual Congress of the International Association for Time Use Research, where the Barcelona Declaration of Time Policies is to be signed. And to conclude, today, the pandemic is providing new opportunities to improve how we organize work and how we communicate, and to give greater value to healthy schedules. We need to place the issue of time at the heart of the political action, because time is life and we want to make it the best possible time of our life. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Consellera, for your kind words, and thank you all for being here to close the Time Use Week 2020. We are looking forward for a great Time Use Week 2021. We will now take a family picture to finalize the week and close the session. Thank you all. So we are taking the picture in 1, 2, 3. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.